What's up, guys? It's Caliber here.
And the Beast.
And I'm Sarah.
And, we're gonna talk about some fucked up shit going on over at, Fiat and Chrysler. So I'm gonna go ahead and let Beast start, and then once he's done talking about what he has to talk about, then I'll go ahead and put my news in, and then we'll wrap the video up. So take it away, Beast.
It's basically long story short. I purchased a new vehicle. Old vehicle took a shit, so I had to buy a new one. I ended up buying a 2018 Jeep Renegade. Um, it's like I said, it's a really nice vehicle. But I must have I ran what it is. I ran over a nail, and I went to go get it plugged. At first, I thought it was a sensor because I didn't think, like, when you buy a four-wheel drive vehicle that you should have, like, crappy street tires on it in the first place, but, like, there should be, like, an all-terrain vehicle. Whatever. But, I digress. Because, but, the tires themselves didn't also have road hazard on them, which I figured that would be something they would also offer on a vehicle like that, but apparently they did not. I get 5 years of roadside assistance and a year subscription to, XM radio, but, whatever. So then they also showed me that in case of emergencies, they pulled this pump out, like they went in the back of the vehicle when I was talking to the other rep, and they come up and they're like, you also have this as well. And it's a little Jeep, little air pump, little air compressor, and I was like, oh, that's pretty nice. Was that located where the spare would be? Kind of getting like an idea where it would be at, and they're like, well, yes, and kind of, and I'm like, what do you mean kind of? She's like, it's in the spot where your spare would be at if you had that option. You're like, well, it's if you would have that, you don't have the spare tire option or on your when you bought the vehicle. And I was like, it doesn't come standard. I'm like, when did that not become a standard option? I mean, that would be a safety thing. I mean, like, if the tire is not able to be pumped, what is the good as an air pump going to do you? I was like, I can see a full size spare being like an option. That makes sense to me. I mean, especially if you want to have like one that matches your rims or whatever, I can see that being an option. But a donut, or like like a little, like a 50-pound, like a little donut or whatever, like 50-pound. That's pretty big donut, but you know what I mean. I digress. The one you can't, like the little tiny little half size thing. That right there, it's like, I think that should be like a law that you should have to have at least one of those when you sell one of those, because you're out in the middle of nowhere. It's like, yeah, I get like, maybe that's where they get away with it because they give you an air pump and they give you like 5 years of freaking goddamn like tow service or something, I guess. But still, to me, it's like, give me a gosh dang donut. I'll let you keep the fancy little Jeep pump.
Yeah, you can literally go out and buy a fucking cigarette lighter air pump for really fucking cheap, like $20-$30.
But here's the thing: it don't say cheap on it, right? So that's what they're gonna say. I mean, like, I mean, I'm not hating on the air pump. I mean, like, I think that's a cool option, but when to put an air pump and you say this is why we don't offer you a spare, it's like, okay, now you're talking at your butt. I mean, that's not even safe or ethical. Especially with the tires they put on there. It's like, I'm not going to mention the brand names because, like, there's some good people and there's people going to like fight about like brand name of tires. But to me, it's because of what kind of tires they are. I'm sure that they had like more than likely, I'm just saying they should have been an all-terrain tire on it. It had a street tire on a freaking four-wheel drive vehicle. I know it's the smallest Jeep there is. I get it. I mean that's that part I understand. But when you have four-wheel drive, at least there should be like an all-terrain, even on a smaller scale, all-terrain tire on it. Because the nail literally went through the tread and was able to go through the full body of the tread, and then puncture the actual like wall of the of the top of the tire, and I was like, well, that wouldn't even have. I was like, you know how many nails and stuff I had in the tread of my freaking gosh dang, just my Cooper tires that I had on my truck, before. It's like, come on.
Well,
I barely could
I
fit.
don't, I don't understand how a nail could do that much damage. From my experience as a mischievous teenager, it should be. I'm not going to implicate myself in anything. I have done nothing. You can
Oh,
prove nothing.
well, it's deviant right
um,
there.
even like from the bottom or from the sides, it should be a lot harder to make that much damage with tire. You can't just quick fix it.
Well, I mean, you're putting all the weight of the vehicle on it. I mean, like I could see, it's definitely going to go through. But the
No,
problem,
no, no, no. Some of the things I may or may not have done involved the entire weight of the vehicle, and some of them failed, and some of them didn't. Of the things that I may or may not have done. Just saying.
well, the thing is, normally when it goes to the tread, it's not that big of a deal because the tread makes it long enough to where you can put the
Well,
full
it
width.
should.
Yeah, it should make it long enough to where the nail wouldn't even touch the top of the tire, or even if it did, it wouldn't puncture anyway. This one did that, and it was able to even also knock the nail out again, which means the nail was literally long enough to catch itself to get pried out again. So that just shows you how little the tread is on these. On this, I mean, this thing is almost to consider what I would consider on the tires I would normally buy. I would consider this tire to be a ball tire.
Yeah. No,
I mean,
that's like ridiculous.
Well,
yeah,
no,
it's
there's actually a very legal way to actually show somebody how hard it is to actually puncture a tire. Just watch what's inside when they took apart the Tesla tire. When they tried
Well,
stabbing
no,
it, it
yeah,
fucking
that's
bounced off.
exactly the thing.
When they tried stabbing it, the knife just fucking bounced off.
Well, when using the if you look at like a spike strip, like obviously spikes don't stay inside of them, but like they're designed for like what tear? They tearing, right?
well, they go in. I mean, like you could puncture a tire like that if it's all about the right conditions. It's about angle. It's about weight and all that jazz.
Hmm.
I'm not detesting the fact that it went in. I mean, the tires that I had on my truck prior to the ones that before it went out, I had a very mid range all terrain tire. It wasn't like a full like a grabber AT or whatever, like the full like the knobs or anything. But it wasn't like small treads either. But I had nails all up and down them treads, and I never had a freaking leakage in them because it was in the tread. It never really bothered it because it didn't go because it literally, the tread was longer than the body of the nail, which would be more than likely what would go down. What would go down. The only time you would ever have to worry about is if a nail went somehow between the tread, and the head of the nail was able to go past the port of entry, and that's where you have a problem. But this here, it's just like, we're not even talking about like you're not even talking about a full inch of tread on this, and that bothers me. It bothers me because it's supposed to be Jeep. They have a reputation to maintain. I understand that, with today's vehicles, it's going more and more modern, more like I guess street and all that jazz or whatever. But to me, it's like you have a reputation to uphold. Give me an all-terrain freaking tire on a freaking four-wheel drive vehicle. So I mean, it's not. I think that's just not something hard to ask for. And then, if you're going to give me those kind of tires, give me a goddamn freaking spare.
No, I 100% agree with that. Like, especially if you're gonna give someone like shitty tires, like you should at least give them a replacement shitty tire.
Right. I honestly, what I'm going to do is I kind of want to get like what I was talking about before. I'm not going to buy like a. I mean, I might buy a donut for right now, just to kind of throw in that slot just to have one. But what I will end up doing is I want to end up getting just a rim that's just like the ones on the vehicle, and when I'm not going to put. I want to weight those because I want to put all 5 new tires on it anyway, because I want to put the tires I want on it. Which, again, I'm not talking about putting off-road tires. I'm not planning on going off-road in this vehicle. I've always liked an all-terrain vehicle because there are instances where I have to go in the dirt. I mean, that's just common knowledge, especially when you live out in the country. That's just something you're not always going to have pavement to be on. There's dirt roads out here too. It's like, not saying that I need that to get traction around here, but it is nicer to have an all-terrain vehicle, especially when up here in the north where you have a lot of snow. It's just something nice to have.
Well, another thing too, that like after all the snow is gone, a lot of the roads are left in some pretty poor conditions that, some smaller cars have a problem with, and people get their tires punctured because, the roads are a mess because no one's been able to fix them yet because no one knows if it's going to freeze over. Like, most construction starts spring, summer, not winter, spring, because if you start construction in the middle of maybe going to freeze over season, you're just wasting your time.
Mm-hmm.
And roads can get pretty bad depending on their pre-existing condition, and that can really affect a car or a truck or whatever, depending on, what's holding it up. See, I don't understand why a company, like, they're giving you a new car, you're buying a new car. I don't understand why the thing that touches the ground, the first thing in between you and the ground, is your tires. I've never understood cheaping out on tires for anybody.
Oh yeah, I don't get it either.
Like, I mean, there are other things you could cheap out on if you really need to. I mean, that are replaceable or whatever. But the tires, really?
Well, I mean, like, back then, I mean, like, just not even what, 5-10 years ago, your major brands would be on there. Like, your GMCs would be of Goodrich. Your other vehicles would have like something like a Michelin or something in that manner. Something that's well known, something that's known to be durable. Huh?
Like, it just looks bad on the company.
It does, because for me, it's like I didn't have a mechanical issue, and then I'm thankful for that. But the problem is, I've had the car like about 3 weeks. This is about as much as I've had this vehicle, and I'm already having an issue with tires.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's like, I know that tires is a grace of, like, they consider it a act of God, so it's like kind of one of those things where that falls in that category. They're not responsible for it. I understand that, huh?
Really?
Well, that's what it is. I mean, like, when it comes to the road, they can't control what's on the road or what you decide to drive through. I understand. I'm not saying that I get that. I understand that.
Yeah.
But when you put a cheaper tire on there, and something like this does happen from like a nail, for crying out loud, that just goes to show you, it's like, okay, now I've had this thing for like 3 weeks. I'm already having to put a patch job on it. Hopefully that's all it'll take. I got off light because what if it was something that went through the sidewall? And then it wouldn't have been able to replace, and I had to buy a brand new tire, only having the damn thing for 3 weeks, and I'd be pissed off shit.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just...
And they didn't even tell you when you got it that the spare was optional anymore.
The bad thing is, the reason that they didn't even, like, it, they should start telling people that, because, in the back of everybody's mind, as long as I can remember, a spare was a thing.
Well, you think they would, right? Because I'm assuming they would charge extra for it.
Well,
So
yeah, I mean, it would be
think that they'd want the most money out of you at one given time, and most people are more inclined to, add something on when they first get something. At least I am. I know that I am. I know a lot of people I know are, because it's easier to get everything all in one go, because you're like, well, I'm already spending this ridiculous amount of money. I mean, how much, like, what's this much more?
That's another thing they didn't really kind of go over. And that's a lot of that's just dealerships altogether. They have the car on the lot ready to go. They don't have to do anything, right? The only thing they gotta do is if you buy it, they're gonna give you your first, they're gonna fill your tank up real quick for you as you're filling the paperwork out, and that's pretty much all they gotta do. Get approved before you get you out the door. That's what they want to do. See,
Yeah.
they're not looking at that sell that could be done, like that upsell, like, oh, do you want a spare? It's like, if you're not going to offer one, it's like if you because back then, like a couple of years ago, you had at least a donut, because full size spares weren't a thing. You know what I mean? Like that was very rare to find. When you did find them, it was an option, or sometimes even when it did become like a standard on that car, you're like, oh wow, that's fantastic. That's it's one of those basically needles in a haystack. But so, I get the fact that they're out of practice maybe because of that factor. Like, oh well, we're just used to people saying, oh, it's got a donut in there, I'll just take that instead. Don't worry about it. But now that they're not coming with that, they need to really bring up that fact. Like, hey,
Right? Like,
this doesn't come with a donut even or anything. Do you want to put that on the package there? It's like, yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just a person who, when I'm given a task, I put my all into that task and I try to make the most out of it. But you think, like I don't know. You think about the salesperson stereotype, and they're always trying to push extra stuff, and the fact that they didn't even tell you that, hey, it no longer comes with this. Do you want to add it on to it? Maybe.
Right. I mean, like, another thing that kind of bothers me about the whole deal is that not only did they not offer that, but it's like, it's not even the fact that they don't offer it as I'm still getting mad about the company itself, Chrysler in general, and who owns them. It's because they're literally going around taking the spare away from the customer in this factor. And it's not like I got I didn't get the base package. I didn't get the Sport. I got the Latitude, which is literally the mid grade of the vehicle. It's not like the top Trailhawk, but it's definitely not the lower model. I mean, I even have the upgraded rims anyway. I have the 17-inch rims anyway. I don't have the 16s. It even came with the bigger touchscreen. And I have the 8-inch touchscreen interface for the U-Connect instead of the normal 5. So, I mean, these are something that came with mine as a standard on mine, because that's what mine is. That's what the package deal is. But for what grade do I have to get a goddamn spare?
It's dumb. I think we can all just agree that it's dumb.
It is dumb. I think you had something else also on that.
Yeah, give me a second. So I'm really confused on this, because Dodge is owned by Chrysler, but the person that makes the Dodge Demon is Daimler AG. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Either way, it's still they're all in one fucking thing together. Fiat, Chrysler, and this Daimler person. Huh? Daimler? Yeah. They're pretty much all in it together. But essentially what I wanted to talk about was Dodge Demon's rear differential exploding on the drag strip. A highly modified, and this is from the Wikipedia, it's basically a highly modified Hellcat. If you're building a vehicle that's capable of well over 200 miles an hour, at least 200 miles an hour, and it has that much horsepower, why are you not building beefier rear end differentials? A lot of people are saying that the reason that the differential's failing is because it's made out of aluminum, cast aluminum. Why, if that is true, why the fuck would you use aluminum in a high horsepower race car or drag car?
That's the thing. I mean, I know why they would do it primarily is because that's a weight reduction right there. I mean, weight-wise, it makes sense, but I mean, if it's not able to hold the pressure, then what's the point?
It's fucking ridiculous. I mean, if you're gonna use aluminum, fine, but provide the fucking customers with some bracing for their differential.
The problem is that they're gonna go with bracing anyway. I mean, that might be cheaper for them, but I mean, in the long run, the point of that would be the point of the going aluminum in the first place for the weight reduction would be absolutely mute anyway. So honestly, you should just make it out of a better material in the first place, in that route. I mean,
Somebody had mentioned they should have went with the Dana 60. I'm assuming. Let me see what the Dana 60 is. I think it's a differential.
Yeah, Dana 60 is a differential. The Dana 60 is actually really good. I like Dana.
Yeah, there was a choice between two, and somebody had gave the choice of they should have used the Dana 60. Something other than what they're putting in the cars now. And you had an opinion on that, didn't you, babe?
What?
About the rear end differentials exploding.
That sounds insane.
I thought you mentioned something about a lawsuit.
Oh, it was. Don't try to get me to repeat snide jokes. That sounds like a lawsuit coming.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, it probably is happening. It's fucking ridiculous. See, I know what a rear differential is, but I couldn't remember if that was the name. That's why I had to look it up. Because I watched this video like a while back, but it's just the differentials can't handle the torque.
Right. That's just. I mean, that's just not even talking about. I mean, that goes with any of the car companies out these days. I mean, look at Toyota. Much longer they have their cars self-propelling themselves into walls. You know, it's just weird. But I don't know.
Have we talked about cars now?
It's just like okay, never mind. I'm not even going to talk about that. That's something different. But no, guys, just fix your shit. Start giving the customers their fucking spare tires. Stop using aluminum for fucking drag car differentials. Just cut the shit. The biggest problem is all of our American companies like Ford, Chevy, Dodge, their parts are being manufactured overseas. I have a big issue with that. Because then our shit isn't made up to quality.
To be fair, was Ford ever up to quality? I'm sorry, I like Ford jokes. Don't look at me like that. I like the acronym jokes. You know, found on road dead, fixed off road daily. It's fun.
Let's fix or repair daily.
You live in a different country than me. Don't correct me.
Or it's first on race day.
Fucked over rebuilt Dodge.
Yeah, I remember that one. That was pretty good.
Anyways, that's pretty much it. Dodge the father, Ram the daughter. Well, that only applies to Dodge Ram.
Well, no shit, but it's my favorite Dodge joke, okay?
Or if you can't dodge it, ram it.
I spent 20 minutes talking my ear off about cars. I can at least have for vehicles.
Fine.
Vehicles. I can at least have my joke.
And Chevy, shove it or leave it.
Subaru, you're a bus.
Subarus are great though.
Subaru. When I was a very small child, I used to believe for a fact that was a freaking Australian car company, right? And then when I finally learned the truth when I was in junior high school, I almost was crushed by the idea of the fact that it was Japanese. And I'm like, you've lied to me this whole freaking time, you Subaru bastards.
Nah,
anyway,
Subarus are heavily. Yeah, I'm gonna say this one thing. Subarus are heavily used in Australia. That's where you got that idea from.
No, it's because they're advertisements. Their advertisements always had the goddamn freaking their symbol. The symbol for Subaru is like the goddamn stars in the freaking Australian flag. Their biggest selling vehicle is called the Outback. I mean,
Okay, I get it.
I mean, like honestly, it's like it breathes freaking Australia,
Yeah.
but it's Japanese. It's like you bastards.
Subaru is a good car company from what I heard. But that's neither here or there. Anyways, guys, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like down below. Don't forget to comment, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that notification bell to be alerted when we upload a new video. You have all three of us on Wednesdays, and then you have me and Beast on Fridays. Just to clear some of the confusion up why she's not usually in Modmouth.
I made the show, but I don't vape enough or buy enough vape crap to continue to participate.
Yeah.
So.
Anyways, guys, this is Storm Family signing out.